Did Sean Davis get an email on this? I didn't check all that earlier.
I believe he did, yes.
Okay.
Maybe I minimized it somewhere. I got it back. Jason,
Yeah.
I got it back up now.
Okay.
Okay, it's 5:02 on my computer, and I'm calling this meeting to order.
All right. So then I'm to read the budget message. So the role of local control in school budgeting cannot be stopped by a global pandemic. You guys are proof of that. So working through this process, communities around our state and the country voice the priorities of their local students' education and help craft a vision of what our schools will look like when we return to normalcy. I would like to thank this year's budget committee for being that voice for the McKenzie River community during these trying times. I would also like to thank the hard work and efforts of a number of people outside of the committee whom this process would have been nearly impossible. So Wendy Whitson, Nancy Osmond, Lacey Joy, and Brent Meister spent an incredible amount of time poring over this proposed budget line by line to ensure that our students get the best education funding will allow. The restrictions around social distancing and collaborating via video conferencing has made this difficult process even more so. Student enrollment plays a major role in our funding levels and in turn our budget. So for the 2020-21 school year, the proposed budget has been built on an enrollment of 215 students. The district will be negotiating with our classified employee group. This process was disrupted by COVID-19 closures and is yet to be resumed. Due to this and a myriad of other considerations, this budget may need to be revised after contracts are completed. So it is our hope that this proposed budget is the dollars and cents reflection of the school's mission of guiding the next generation of our community and learning about themselves, their communities, and the world. So the proposed 2020-2021 budget was built upon the following assumptions: a state budget appropriation of $9 billion, the projected revenue from taxes, state funding based upon an anticipated enrollment of 215 students weighted to 393.67, and then the full funding of the newest student investment account. So the role of the budget committee is to discuss and prioritize programs and services, direct administration to adjust dollar amounts, increase or decrease, and improve the proposed budget document as submitted or subsequently revised by the committee. However, all personnel decisions, transfers, employee contracts, and results relating to change in personnel rest with the superintendent and school board. It is ultimately our responsibility to verify programs and services are in place to ensure that every student receives a solid foundation in their academic development. So thank you again for your service to the students and staff of McKenzie schools as well as the greater McKenzie River community. Wendy.
Wendy, you.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to review the PowerPoint that you guys should have received via email. If you don't have this, you can look at page 153 of your budget document, because I'm going to review the state school fund. So 2020-21 local revenue, the property taxes of $1,906,891. Federal forest fees $8,035. Common school fund $21,001.95. County school fund $3,000 in lieu of $812 local revenue. $1,989,067.75. So as we move down the state school fund, we're going down now to the experience adjustment. So the 2021 experience adjustment, the district average teacher experience is 8.67. State average is 12.10. So McKenzie's experience is -3.43. We're going to move over to the transportation grant. This includes estimated expenditure of bus and garage depreciation minus non-reimbursable miles. We are currently ranked at 84. We'll be reimbursed at 80%. Our grant for that is $245,110.40. Am I going too fast?
Actually,
No.
Wendy, can you move your computer a little closer, your microphone a little closer?
Can you not
Yeah.
hear
I was
me?
gonna ask the same thing. It's hard to hear. It's a little muffled.
I also think we're picking you up from Nancy's computer too, so we're kind of getting double.
Nancy, do you want to turn yours down? I'll turn mine up. You're turning mine up. Nancy,
Thank you.
turning hers down. Is that better?
Yes,
Or maybe if Nancy mutes, will that help?
yes.
She can ask Jason to mute her.
I muted it.
She muted. Is that better?
Try it again, Nancy. Because last time you talked, I highlighted your bubble. Now you're muted. Okay.
All right. All right, page 2. EDMW. Okay, this would be on page 154 of that, the budget document we sent you, and I'll go over the ADMW or regular ADMW 225.13. Students, IEP students, 24.76. Students on IEP above 11%, 7. Students in poverty, 12.94. Students in foster care, 0.50. Remote elementary, 70.93. Small high school correction, 52.41. A total of our estimated ADMW is 393.67. So what they do is they take the extended ADMW, the higher of both years of 1920 and 2021. So 1920 would be 393.67 and 2021 would be 381.85. So we're gonna go with 393.67. So the 2021 general purpose grant, you multiply the teacher experience adjustment of negative 3.43 by $25, then add 4,500 to the result of $4,414.25. Then multiply $4,414 by 0.25 by the extended ADMW 393.6743, and then by the funding ratio of 1.9, the large number, equals $3,338,371.64 for a general purpose grant. 2021 total formula revenue. You take the general purpose grant plus the transportation grant equals $3,583,482.04. For the 2021 state school fund grant, the total formula minus the local revenue. So the McKenzie's total state school fund will be $1,593,714. The total formula revenue extended EMW is $9,103 per pupil. And all this information is on these 2 pages at the end of your budget document if I went too fast. Do you guys have any questions on the state school fund?
That is the easiest to understand formula I think I've ever worked with. That even goes back to freshman algebra.
Joking.
Yeah. The sarcasm come across on Zoom meetings? I don't.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I'm a little slow.
Oh, well played.
Okay. Are you guys ready to review the budget document?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I go too fast, tell me or stop me. I'm going to start with, you guys have a PDF. So your page numbers are different than mine, so I wrote down the PDF page numbers for you guys so that you'll know where I'm at as I move on.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to start on page 9 of your PDF. And that should say fund overview. Is everybody
Yeah.
there or do you need me to wait? Okay.
Beautiful.
So fund overview, there's 3 pages here. It has every single fund listed and the amount that it is. So I just wanted to show you that. and easy. And we move on to page 15, function overview. So this breaks down, this is just the general fund, and it breaks it down per function, and it shows you what the last two actuals, the current year budget, and our proposed budget. So this is a really good quick reference because it shows you what we currently have, and it shows you the difference between the cost, our expenditures, and the FTE. So when we get into the detail, we'll break down to each section of the FTE change, but this is a really good quick reference. Any questions so far? No? Okay, I'm gonna move to page 21. And I'm going to start with the general fund, and I'll go through each page and explain if there's an FTE change or if there's any major change within this line item. And if there's not, I'll move on. But if you need me to slow down or you have a question, please let me know. Okay, so page 21 of your PDF should be the general fund, and this is K6 instruction. So the current year we have 6.54, we're moving to 7.0 FTE. This is for the elementary, and we took a 0.5 part-time, moving it to a full-time position in the elementary. This is the only change that's here. So I'm going to move on to page 22. At the bottom, you'll have music. The FTE did not change. Page 23, music is continued. And then you have PE on page 23, and the FTE is 0.49. The FTE did not change. This is all elementary still. Page 24 is the same. The FTE did not change. Oh, sorry. So this on the top page of 24 shows, oh, sorry. Bottom of page 23 shows the total of the elementary. Sorry about that. So we have the total of elementary. So now we're going to go into middle school. Page 24 is middle school. So language arts, FTE is the same. At the bottom of page 24, social studies, the FTE is the same. Page 25, social studies, social studies is on page 24, FTE is the same, continues on page 25, and science is the same for middle school. 26, music, FTE is the same. So when we get down at the bottom of page 26 is math 7-8. The FTE is the same, but the salary is different because our teacher retired and we budgeted mid-range for the salary. So if you notice that change, that's what that is. Page 27, PE, FTE is the same. Page 28, tech, FTE is the same.
Hey, Wendy, can you explain, you say you budgeted mid-range, are you saying mid-range for based on experience of the teacher that's coming in? Is that?
Yeah, when I don't know who we're going to hire, I will usually go mid-range because you don't know if you're going to hire a teacher at the just getting out of college or at the higher step. So mid-range kind of covers this a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, page 28, I think, tech, FTE is the same. At the bottom of 28 is shop, and that's not budgeted in the general fund. There's no health budgeted on page 29. Page 30. At the bottom we have, okay, then we're starting high school at the bottom of page 30.
So
the FTE is the same.
quick question, Wendy, when you started this, there was an increase of roughly half an FTE.
I'm sorry, what?
There was an increase of roughly half an FTE on 21.
Are you on page 21?
Yeah, on page 21, you mentioned there was an increase in licensed salary from 6.54 to 7.
Yes, that was increasing a half-time teacher in the elementary to a full-time position.
Which one was that? I didn't see it.
Sixth grade.
Oh, okay.
Did I answer your question?
We finally unblended all of the elementary classrooms after that's been a board goal for, you know,
Okay,
since
good,
Jim was here. So made it.
good.
Okay. Did I answer the question?
Yes, it's answered.
Okay. Oh yeah, where's that at? Oh, at the page, top of page 30. Okay, the top of page 30, the total for middle school is $177,313. So now we will go down to high school, and that starts at the bottom of page 30, and that is language arts. The FTE is the same. Page 31, social studies, the FTE is the same. Page 32, science, FTE is the same. Page 33, music, FTE is the same. We have math. In math again, the FTE is the same, but the salary decreased there because of hiring in mid-range salary scale. At the bottom of 34, PE, FTE is the same. 35, foreign language, FTE is the same. Do you guys have any questions or just?
No.
So then when you, at the end, when you say the total, is that in that gray bar?
Yes, and when they, when it was made into a PDF, the gray doesn't come out very well, but if you go back to that page,
Like page 9?
I think it's page 15. Go back to on the PDF, you go to page 15, it'll show you that breakdown, and it's clear on that page for you guys.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Sorry about the PDF didn't make it very good. I didn't notice that till today. Okay. I think I'm on page 35.
Yes.
Okay, foreign language is the same. Page 36, high school tech, the FTE remains the same. Page 37, down middle of the page, high school shop. You'll notice that the current year we have salary in there. This year we don't have any because the shop will be grant funded this year. Page 38, at the bottom you have health, FTE remains the same. Page 39, high school health continues. At the bottom, talented and gifted stays the same. Page 40. Okay, page 40, we start with elementary special ed. There is an FTE change here in the classified. Other than that, and then you go down to where it says account, and you go down to where it says 319 other instructional professional. You'll notice there's a change there from 70,000 to 110,000, and this is students that receive services outside McKenzie School. So you can tell there's a change there. Page 41 is high school special ed, and there's no FTE change there. Page 42, high school special ed continues. Let's see, down at the bottom of page 42, you have tuition to other districts. That only changed $1,000. That's for LCC students. Page 43, at the bottom is student service support, and that did not change. The FTE did not change. And it continues on page 44. And then you have health coordinator. The FTE remains the same there. Page 45, health coordinator continues. And then you have elementary library. And library goes for a couple pages. There's no salary, but there's dues and fees that's associated with the library. And that's about $2,800 for elementary and high school. And then you go to page 47. Am I going too fast? Page 47, assessment and testing. There's small salary there, the same. Staff development at the bottom, there's nothing there. But in staff development, we do have a few dues and fees, tuition, that's the same as it was last year. And then we have the middle of page 48, we have the Board of Ed. FTE is the same, but there was a change on page 49 as you're on the Board of Ed. And the account number is 388. It went from 500 to 20,000. And this is for the election cost. I don't know the true cost for if we go out for a bond, but need to have some money in there. Also, if you'll notice down at the account number 651, liability insurance, it increased, and you'll see that throughout the budget, and our increase is about 16%. At the bottom of page 49, Office of the Superintendent, FTE remains the same. Page 50 continues Office of the Superintendent, nothing significant changing there. Page 51, Office of the Principal, Elementary. FTE is the same. Page 52, Elementary Office, and you'll notice that we added on account number 470, computer software, and this is a mealtime upgrade. This is our program for student lunches. And I put 1,500 here, and in the high school, you'll notice the 1,500 to have the upgrade. And then below that, we have the IMC services. This is supplies, 4,000, same as it was this year. Office of the High School Principal, there was a 0.15 FT change here. Everything else seems to be the same. And again, on page 54, you'll see the computer software, 1,500 for the mealtime upgrade. And on page 54, financial services, FTE remains the same here, and I don't believe there are any other changes there.
Yeah, Wendy, what was the, back on 53, the reduce the 0.15 FTE?
This was managerial services, and I reduced, some of this is part of our special program coordinator,
Okay,
director, that we took out of the general fund and put it in a grant.
okay.
Okay, what page was I on?
54.
54. Okay. Okay, high school mealtime. Yep, I told you about that. Okay, financial services, no changes. Okay, 55. Let's see. 55 at the bottom. Upkeep of facilities. No FTE changes. Okay, on page 56, there's changes on account number 325 electricity. I increased 8,000, and on fuel, we increased 7,000. Garbage, 1,000. I think that was the only major changes on that line item. There is another one on here. Oh, on page 57, the account number 542, 9,000. We were hoping to have more to put in there for a vehicle for maintenance. Again, on 651, liability insurance, you can see the increase there. And then on page 57, vehicles, we added 0.54. So this is a bus driver, because we added a route, and then, yeah, that seems like we have. Okay, page 58, vehicle up, continued.
Is that added route going to Springfield, or did we add something up here?
No, it was because we have the route going to town.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking if somebody left, but yeah. Okay, so 58, liability insurance increase. Page 59, okay, 59. At the bottom of 59, you have field trips. They didn't change. Page 60, special ed transportation. We did increase 0.75, and this is transporting a student to town. At the bottom of that, we have high school field trips, and that did not change. Page 61, sports trips did not change. 62, technology, FTE remained the same. And I don't think there was much that changed in here that I noted. It's about the same. Page 63, we have retirees insurance. There was an increase because next year somebody will receive their stipend rather than through the insurance. And then page 64, you can see our transfers. I can list them for you. Food service, 23,000. Vehicles, 20,000. Textbook fund, 6,000. Transfer technology, 5,000. Maintenance, 8,000. Co-curricular, 60,000. A total of 122. So it's an increase of $1,000 from last year, or from the current year. Then we have operating contingency of 140 and an unappropriated 100,000, a total of $4,003,230. That is the general fund. So do you guys have any questions for the general fund?
What was the purpose for the liability increase? Did they justify their large increase?
The increase on insurance?
Yeah, the liability insurance.
Because I think we're in this big pool, and I think it could be due to last year's snowstorm that they had to pay out a lot, so they have to get back some of their money.
Yeah, I think the reasoning was, that they've been paying out a lot more. That's the first time in a long time where they've had a big rate jump like that from the pool. So didn't help us with the gym floor, but we got some new gutters out of it. So.
All right.
I had a couple of thoughts. I had been taking some notes, and I don't know if this is a good time to sort of bring them up. And I think that certainly once we get maybe some more guidance from the governor's office, we'll have a better picture of what next school year is going to look like. But just some thoughts that came, as I was looking over the document and thinking about our current situation. So the impact of potentially having fewer students enrolled in school. I'm hearing, this is just anecdotally, people in this district and in other districts too, talking about how for some people, homeschool has been great. They want to stick with that, and that they may do that through, McKenzie. I don't know, but just kind of I'm thinking about that as that can affect our, number of students that we have enrolled. So thinking about that. Also, a few other things. Should we be looking at potentially putting more money into technology, potentially even into FTE, as, again, this is all anecdotal and these are murmurs that I'm hearing, not just in Oregon, but in other states about how things might look different next year when we talk about going back to school, socially distanced, doing hybrid type classes and stuff where students are going to be, and teachers are going to be more reliant on technology, and just making sure we're set up for that situation should that, come about. More money for maintenance. I think about, when students do go back to school, is our current staff of, janitorial staff, are they going to be able to keep up with the sanitizing of surfaces and things like that? Do we need to hire more people? Do we have money to hire more people? Can we move money around? And then also thinking about more money for professional development or technical support for teachers and for students. I guess it kind of goes back to the tech support stuff. Again, as we potentially do more stuff online than face to face. And then the last thing I keep thinking about is sports trips. Are we going to have sports? Is that going to? I mean, I know none of us know. We can't. Your crystal ball isn't working, Lane. So none of us know. But these are all just things I'm thinking about, and that will affect our budget. So just throwing it all
And I
out.
had the same questions you do, Alyssa. I was curious about what has been built in the budget this year in preparation for next year's potential social distancing online learning for our student population at McKenzie that would like to stay enrolled at McKenzie and have that option to stay home if they're sick and participate in online courses.
Yeah, so I think like what we've got now, technology wise, like we can cover that. We've spent some money and bought some more computers. The stumbling block is going to be Wi-Fi connectivity anywhere up in the valley. So yeah, if we can find a solution to that, I think we'll be in good shape. The problem is, we don't know. Like you said, Alyssa, like we don't know what OHA is going to tell us. The health authority, what they say the classrooms are going to be like. The transportation, like how are we supposed to social distance on school buses? How, so, and then also we don't know what the state school fund level is going to be. So I think, this is a document that's built on, what we were to expect in a pre-COVID-19 world. And then hopefully the state can continue to fund us at that $9 billion. And we can grow and adjust, but right now there's not enough information to make those kind of plans. If we knew what the protocol would be, then yeah, we could scurry away some money in supplies, but we don't know, and the timeline for us to adopt this is locked in, and I don't know if we pushed it out more meetings, if we would even have enough information by the time we had to have this published and adopted. So we're going to adjust. It is what it is.
That makes sense. I mean, it doesn't, because there are so few, there are too many variables right now. It doesn't make sense to, radically change what we have. So I guess the best thing to do is continue to move forward with the, maybe the budget that we have or something like the budget that we have, and then make adjustments as we go along. But yeah, for the sake of this timeline, and how difficult it is to get people together. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I have a couple questions too. With the COVID-19, there's obviously budget cuts and additional expenses that have already happened. How does our budget look from last year? Are we on target? Are we over due to some of the additional expenses you guys have had to deal with due to COVID-19? And then second part of that is there's a lot of larger districts that are furloughing employees and moving to a 3-day week right now to the end of the year to help reduce their budget for the rest of this year. Is that something that we have to be concerned about on the budget side?
So you want to talk about budget, Wendy, and then I'll talk about the furlough.
Okay. Well, yeah, we have more expenses. I feel like we're spending more than we should, but there's nothing I can do about it. And I'm hoping that we can get a little bit of money back from FEMA. We're trying that route. I don't know what else to say about that, but
Yeah, there's supposed to be some other aid coming through to schools through the CARES Act. That hasn't come through yet. We looked at the furlough, and a lot of for us, we looked long and hard at it. We had some big questions and big kind of hesitation about going forward with it. So one of the big hesitations is student impact. We've already taken them out of school, tried to get them all lined up on this. They're meeting 4 days a week with their teachers. Cutting another day, making them go through another transition didn't seem palatable at the time. It's like other districts like in 4J where my daughter goes, they're only going 2 days a week for 30 minutes connecting with teachers online. Like a model like that, it's easier to slip in cutting a day each week because you're cutting a work day for a teacher, not necessarily a face-to-face day. Other big hesitation is like, you all have been hearing that people are having a hard time getting those unemployment payments, right? Like there's still a huge backlog, and the idea of the furlough work share program, which would then allow them to qualify for unemployment, which would then get them the unemployment benefit plus a little bit of like a $600 amount on top of the typical payments. So we're looking at trying to make a big transition to only be able to recoup the cost for a few days, to then have people not have the money that they were depending on for some time. So it didn't make a whole lot of sense. We could talk with as the board if it makes more sense to them and they want to go ahead with it. Talked with the teaching union. I didn't hear from classified about it. At first, everybody was really gung ho about it, but there's a lot of questions out there. So that's kind of where it's at.
Okay, any more questions about the general fund? No? Then I'm going to move on to special funds. So this will be on page 69 of your document, your PDF. And if you have, oh, you don't have a paper. If you have a paper copy, it's the blue sheet. Okay, here we go. Let me know if I need to slow down. So on page 69, we're going through a special revenue. The 200, there's a 200 miscellaneous grant, and we put 200,000 in here as a placeholder for if we receive a grant throughout the year that's not in the budget. This allows us to accept that grant. Scholarships, $117,787. This is all of our scholarships together. 209 is our CARES ESSER Federal Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Education Relief, $75,063. Lane, did you need to say anything about that? Okay. 210 Title I grant.
So this is Patience. I would bring up, Lane, that we found out on Monday about the CARES Act and funding for local governments and special districts, and they told me the schools were eligible for that, and our application was due by Friday. So that worried me, and I hurried and texted Lane. I was like, do you know anything about this? So I just want to make sure that's on somebody's radar. Should you go on family leave and you're not checking emails, that somebody's left to keep track of CARES funding for schools. I'll do my best to share it with somebody, but making sure you've got an eye on that.
And that was the CRF. That looked like it was only governments, state governments, and sub-governments that had populations of 500,000 or more. So that would only
No, they changed it, and they gave us a week for any jurisdiction that was not Multnomah, Washington, and the city of Portland. So, and they gave us a week to apply on Friday. But I did reach out to the Department of Treasury and determine that this round schools aren't eligible, but the second round schools may be eligible. So I'm sure it's going to turn around real quick. And I just want to make sure you put somebody on point to keep an eye on that, because it'll be fast.
It's funny, like when we were doing this stuff, like the state jargon seems ridiculous, but federal stuff, you guys like dealing with that federal stuff, people, on a day-to-day that deal with that, patients, I tip my hat to you, because trying to figure out anything and all their acronyms and programs is ridiculous. So
you should come hang out with public health for 2 months.
Yeah. So okay, we'll make sure that gets flagged so people will keep track of that.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll move on to 210 Title 1A, $97,458. 215 is the greenhouse grant. The previous number was 286. So if you go through the budget, when you get into the grant numbers down here, if you notice that it will have a number and it has a previous number, because ODE from 200 to 250 are all federal grants. So I had to change a lot of my coding from those numbers to the higher numbers. So if you see something that says previous number, that's what that is, because ODE changed the coding. So 215 is greenhouse for 3,000. 224 dyslexia 0. 230 IDA. This is special ed, $43,012. Title 2, 232 is $12,686. 234, again, this is a title, $10,000. SBR9 is special ed, and that's 0. 237 is a REAP grant, and that's $13,568. 239 is Gear Up, and this is year 7 of Gear Up, and the previous number is 275, and that's for 40,000. 240 fruit and vegetable, and this number used to be 284. It's now 240, and it's $7,100. And the 248 ESSA grant is $3,307. And the 251 SIA, $255,131. Lane, did you need to say anything about this grant, or?
This is the one that we'll have to watch. The state's keeping in that the tax, the new tax, the CAT tax, but because of the economic downturn, the receipts have been reduced. So we'll see what that impact that has on our SIA plan and how we can adjust from there.
The next one is a 252, Measure 98 High School Success. This is for our shop class, $97,849. 253 United Way, $13,500. 255 McKenzie River Community School Charter Grant, $30,000. 257 Catch, $3,577. The 263 CTE Revitalization, $125,000. Lane, did you need to say anything about this? Okay.
Should unmute. Yeah, we just signed the paperwork. This one should go through. So when the state talks about recouping some of their costs, ODE is continuing to fund grants that were given to folks. So we were a little nervous because it took them a long time to get us the documentation, but this is going to do some really cool stuff up in that shop and then down in the business room as well. So it's pretty exciting.
264.
Wendy, on the 255, the charter school grant,
Yes.
that's 30,000. That's year 3, correct?
I think it's the end of year 2, but the federal grants end in September. So this grant will end in September.
This year will end?
It will end September 30th with this 30,000. That's it. We're done.
Okay.
Correct, Lane?
Yeah, that's the end of the implementation grant. So we've got a little bit more purchasing to do.
Cool. All right. Thank you.
Go away.
Okay, 264 YTP grant, 28,000. 265 Oregon Community Foundation, 0. 267 and 68 to support the family resource, 5,338. 269 the Pro Foundation, 2,654. RTI, 2,500. Preschool, 50,500. Aspire, 3,000. 276, previous number 226 is 22,000. 277 is now the new chronic absenteeism grant. It was the 225, and now that's 50,000. Um, 281 student transport vehicle fund is 17,358. 282 PERS reserve is 12,694. 285 our outdoor preschool is $2,837. 287 textbook math donation $800. 288 textbooks 21,000. 289 vehicle purchase fund $63,997. 290 technology fund $23,389. 291 elementary student body $15,500. 292 high school student body $45,000. 293 co-curricular $80,000. 294 Gray Family Foundation $3,000. 298 gray water, 6,315, and food service, previous numbers 280 is $122,536. Do you guys have any questions on the grants? Okay, I will move on. We're going to skip all these white pages. We just reviewed the 200s. So we're going to move on down to page 122 of your PDF. That will be 320 debt service, page 123. That will be 0. Page 124, capital projects, $91,319. Okay, so now we're going to go into revenue. Revenue, page 127. Everybody there? Okay. Okay, on page 127, the revenue is in sections of the R1000s. This is all local revenue. So you can see our tax money and the miscellaneous. The R2000s, you can see that we have county school funds. The R3000s, you can see our state school fund, common school fund. The 4000s federal, and you can see federal forest fees. And then the R5000s, you can see our beginning fund balance. So on this page of 127, this is the general fund revenue, and you'll see the source of the revenue. Do you guys have any questions on the revenue sheet there that you want to ask?
Hey, Wendy, that drop in the beginning fund balance, is that accounting for this COVID?
No, it's probably, it could be lower than this.
Oh.
So the increase in the overall funding, the overall budget here, revenue is mostly due to that additional grant, that $255,000 grant?
No.
No.
Because what we're looking on this page here is just the general fund, not the grant.
Oh,
the grants
okay.
are completely separate. So if you look on this, on page 127, you see the current taxes, that's a huge amount of revenue. And then our state school fund, the R3101, you see that, and you follow all the way over to the proposed budget of $1,593,714. That's the main part of our revenue. You see the difference between what we're receiving next year versus what we received this year is a huge amount of money.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
Yeah, plus our taxes. Did that answer your question? Okay. Do you guys have any more questions on revenue? No? Okay. I believe that brings us to the very last page, page 155 of the PDF. You can see the total pages of the general fund proposed, special revenue, debt service, 0, capital improvements, and the total budget of $5,821,041. On the very last page would be 155 of your PDF. So that covers the budget. So if you have any questions, or if I went too fast, let me know. I can go back and explain something. No questions?
Our
My only
budget
questions. Sorry, you go ahead, Josh.
So I see our budget was 5.1 million for this year. Do you know approximately how far over budget we're going to be based on your current projections?
I couldn't hear that.
Oh, based on our $5.1 million budget last year, do we know how far over budget we're going to be this year?
The current budget?
Yeah.
No. I will know probably in July what things are looking like.
Gotcha. Okay. I was just curious.
Yeah.
Is there any chance we could see what what our actuals are to date for this year?
I can show you in our, I have my actuals through April for the board meeting tonight. Is that something you?
So I'll have a question, Wendy. So we're looking at roughly 700,000 increase when you're looking at the budget here, as far as 1920 and 20 versus 2021. And you mentioned the carryover, or I forget what it's called.
Beginning fund.
Yeah, beginning fund may be lower. Let's say it's 100,000 lower, or even 200,000 lower. Do you have the ability in this budget to save that, to reduce that somewhere else?
You mean reduce cost?
Yeah, I guess that's my question. Or will we just the following year go in with a lower beginning fund balance again?
Well, I think that in July, once we've paid all our bills, and what I can do is tell Lane where we're at, and then it's up to the administration to make those decisions.
Yeah, there's, looking at this, there's a couple places where we can reduce
Okay.
without necessarily going to the classroom first. I think even like looking at some of the projections Wendy and I were looking at, even if we ended up, the state school fund ended up being, $300 million short of that 9 billion, we still are a little bit ahead.
Okay.
So I think until we know more, like she's saying, once we get a little bit ahead, how much those costs are actually able to recoup through some of it through FEMA and then through that CARES money, I'm hoping that we'll be able to gimp through and limp through and wait until the economy takes off again and we'll be in good shape again. But I don't foresee having to dip too much further into that beginning fund balance, but we'll know more when we get into July.
Okay.
So in a lot of ways, it's a weird way to say this, but in a lot of ways, it's always been a moving target. It's always been something that we had to decide on and not know things till later. This COVID has made that, exponentially scarier, I guess. At the same time, what I'm hearing you saying is it doesn't help us any to wait. There's no, even though we know something more in July, we can't afford to wait. We have to do our due diligence with what we've got. So I think that's what I'm hearing you say. Isn't that, Wendy, that there's virtually no, there's no advantage to it. Gosh, if you knew something in 2 weeks, that'd really be something, but you won't. So, right?
Right. So if we budget like what this budget is, and we budget at 9 billion. So if the state doesn't give us this amount, then we make adjustments and we'll move forward. But if we budget this and then something in July or August, they go, you're actually going to get that 9 and everything looks good, we're good. Our budget is there. So budgeting for it and not getting it is easier to fix than trying to go low and then you have to redo your budget thinking you might get more money.
Will we have an additional cost if we have to ramp up again for a shutdown during the flu season? like we had this time around, or are we going to be able to mitigate that a little bit because of the work you've already done?
Are you talking about like cleaning or the Chromebooks?
The
or-
Chromebooks and those kind of things. I mean, with the technology side of things, I would assume that was more or less kind of a one-time significant hit with some maintenance on the backside, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, it was getting those devices and some connectivity stuff figured out, and then investing in some support to help set it up up front. But I think the transition wouldn't be as drastic cost-wise. I think for kids it wouldn't be good, but that's a different discussion.
And then has the food started costing you more as well? I noticed when we get to school lunches, it's more pre-packed kind of stuff. So I would imagine your budget for the food has had to gone up.
Yes, and that's one of the food costs. That's one of the things that I'm going to try and get some money back from FEMA on, because all that packaged food, like you said, we would
Yeah.
not have purchased that packaged food.
Correct. Okay.
And that's something we always, there's been a couple of years where Kelly's done like a really good job, and we broke even with food service. Food service, we generally lose a little bit of money, but you're feeding kids, and then we're not the only ones in this boat with food service costs going up. Every other school in the state's doing the same sort of gig. Then it's really been interesting seeing some of the shortages that other districts have seen trying to locate supplies. Luckily, we've been able to escape most of that. But.
I can definitely say this, we owe Wendy a thanks for everything she's done here. We owe her a thanks for, again, that beginning fund balance. She's always pushed us to keep it high, and it gives us that little cushion. This is one of those years where that cushion is coming in.
Well, we've always put a lot of trust in our administration and our bookkeepers and so forth. And I don't think it's time to, do anything different than that. Frankly, I'm ready to make a motion, unless someone wants to, scream and holler. Well, I'm going to move that the McKenzie School Budget Committee approve the permanent tax rate of $4 million, if I can get my phone to stay on, or $4,691.15 per thousand of assessed property value for operating purposes. The general fund of $4,300,230 special revenue, $1,726,492 in capital improvements, $91,319 a total budget for all funds of $5,821,041 for the year 2021 school year.
I second.
James.
Hope we lost her.
Jimmy Tim.
What am I supposed to say now?
You need to have a vote, I believe.
Okay.
You've had a motion
Let's
and a
vote.
second.
The motion is second. How many are in favor? Aye.
Oh, we have a motion and a second, and how many, what?
Who's, all those in favor?
All those in favor say aye.
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 Show an aye.
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 All those opposed?
Passes.
Passes.
Mhm.
Gotta be more helpful than that.
You did fine, Carol.
We need no future meetings.
Future meeting.
So we need no future meetings?
Time to adjourn. Anybody would adjourn?
No.
Carol,
Yes?
on here, we don't need any budget future meetings, but there's future meetings for the budget hearing.
Oh,
Okay,
right.
Do you have it right there?
I do. Am I
Okay.
supposed to read that?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So we have a future meeting on June 17th of 2020 at 5:15 PM for a budget hearing. And on the same day, June 17th, 2020 at 5:30 PM, a regular board meeting.
Great job, Carol.
I move we adjourn.
Tim.
I'll second. Josh will second.
Josh second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Meeting adjourned at 6:02.
Thank you.
Woohoo.
And then we'll see the school
Everybody.
board at 6:30.